Alright, let's see what's going down. Okay, Mantra, I still have not... No, I have played on... I was going to say I still have not played on the new stages. But no, that's a lie. I have played on Manta Moria. I have not played on the Umami Resort? Or Umami Ruins? Whatever the other new stage is. Oh, okay. I was like, what's... Because, you know, I'm... Right, as I know I said last time, at the end of the last season, right, I kind of saw through the veil. And because of that, I'm kind of less inclined to play this game as a moment. Mainly because I have so many other games I need to play. Like, holy shit. I haven't even started Metroid Prime yet. And then, of course, we're doing Breath of the Wild, which I know is only, like, once a week. Maybe twice a week. That's still the, like, I don't know, 5 hours I get a week of video games, because, you know, adult life. That's good. That's been taking up 6 of it. Be an adult. So savor your childhoods, kids. You don't realize how good you've got it until it's already over. So last time we played, we did Salmon Run, because it was Big Run. It was Big Run time for Big Run, and I think we ended off Big Run on stream. We ended off at like 70 something, like 76, maybe it was 74. Then off stream, right, playing the next day, I played some more, and I got to 86. And I was like, 86 isn't bad. Maybe that'll be good enough, you know? 86, because I want to say the last one was somewhere in the 80s. So I was like, you know, maybe... I want to say it was like 84 or something like that. So I was like, you know, maybe 86 will be good enough. Oh, that's their Super Chunks. Yeah, no, turns out it was actually the... Big Run winner was 90. So I didn't even get the bronze trophy. I just wanted the bronze trophy. Is that so much to ask for? A bronze trophy? But no, I'm just not good enough, and I never will be. Yep, I'm awful at this game. I have come to the dark realization. It was inevitable, you know. So yeah. But yeah, outside of that, I really have not been playing that much. I've been doing other things. aka not having time to play games. Well, we'll talk about... Actually, that's kind of a lie. We'll talk about it. But tonight is a very chill night. I don't really have much announcement. We have some announcements, and we have some new game announcements, and some new delays that we will both talk about. Oh, really? I missed him? So yeah, we've got those. And then after that... we just got a few random Nintendo things, because it was Mario Day. And yeah, and then we got some TV stuff, some new episodes of Moon Girl were released, so of course I was like, oh, cool. So I definitely checked those out. I was hoping I didn't see the guy behind me. We're getting our ass kicked. So yeah, you know, it's gonna be a fairly simple night. Maybe. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, we got our ass kicked. Maybe? Yeah, it was... Okay, at the end there, it's actually a lot closer than it looked when I had last left that middle area. But no, we still got our ass kicked. Yeah, whatever. So I guess let's start off with the two new game announcements that piqued my interest. So the first one was City Skylines 2. So the original City Skylines is a game that So I did not play SimCity. I didn't play any of those games. God. So I didn't play SimCity. I didn't play any of those style games, especially not the most recent SimCity. That was the always online catastrophe. But I heard people really liked City Skylines. And I've watched series of people playing through City Skylines. Right? Of course, the one that stands out is RT Games series. Fantastic. And I have it on PS4 or PS5. I don't remember which version it is. It must be a PS4 version. And yeah, you know, it's a very interesting... Right, I like it. It's a weird game... Right, city build management. It's not my... Usually, like, I used to, back in the day, not be a sim guy. Right, the closest I ever got to simulation was Animal Crossing. And even still, I didn't get to Animal Crossing until I was in high school. Maybe high school? Maybe. I kind of don't remember. I don't know, I've told the story before. You can go find that somewhere. So, yeah, but I got into Animal Crossing, and I liked it. And since then, you know, I've been... Oh, and then Planet Coaster. Or, not Planet Coaster. Roller Coaster Tycoon, the original. No, specifically, I think Roller Coaster Tycoon 2? Maybe? I was big into one of the Roller Coaster Tycoons. I clearly do not remember which one. Yeah, I clearly don't remember one of the Roller Coaster Tycoons. I played, I want to say the original, and then maybe 2, maybe 3. I clearly don't remember. I think there were 3 Roller Coaster Tycoons. I don't know. I like the series. You know, it's a good series. There's some fun games in there. And then there's Planet Coaster, which I've been playing more recently. But I kind of do want to play City Skylines. So they announced City Skylines 2 this week, which is like, oh, well, now do I just wait for City Skylines 2? Do I pull a fucking... No, how it typically works for me is that whenever the new game comes out, I get really into the old game. That's how Civilization was for me. I got big into Civ 5 right when Civ 6 was announced. And then, of course, there were also kind of announcements of Civ... I have no idea where anybody is. There were kind of announcements of Civ 7, or at least Civ 7's in development. Like, it's clearly not going to be for a while. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they announced Civ 7 is in development recently as well. You know, kind of like how they announced Mortal Kombat 12 was in development. But yeah, so right, going by that, I'm most likely to play City Skylines right around the time that City Skylines 2 comes out. But no, it's actually cool that we're getting another one. Because I know people do like those games, and I do definitely want to give it a try again. Like I said, I played a little of it, but I don't know. I guess one of the newer updates was all about walkable cities, right? Like they were doing a big thing on walkable cities, and that sounds curious to me, because because Sim City, like in many way, or city building games can very much like perpetuate urban sprawl and like everything bad about building planning. So the idea of like, oh yeah, you can play a city building game where you're building a, oh god, they're not 5 mile cities. 10-minute cities? The ones that Republicans are really pissed about now because it's the issue of the week and not that they actually have any problems with them. Right? Like, oh yeah, any place you need to go, you can either get to within 10 minutes of your house, or you can get to a bus stop within 10 minutes that'll take you there. Beautiful. Sounds like an amazing idea. But of course, Republicans got a Republican because capitalism, so yeah, they can go fuck themselves. And then the other game that got announced was Wargroove 2. So we know Advanced Wars is coming out in April. something. So we know, right? We know we're getting a new Advanced Wars. Or we're getting the Advanced Wars remake, and that'll be out in next month, I guess. Wow, that's quick. But we also got the announcement that, hey, yeah, Wargroove 2 is in development. Which Wargroove is a spiritual successor. It's kind of like a fat, whereas Advanced Wars is a military game, right? It's all about like tanks and whatnot. Wargroove is the fantasy equivalent of that, right? It's like, it takes more influence from like Fire Emblem. But I played Wargroove, the original. Not a bad game. How did that not kill? Okay, we're definitely getting some sort of lag here. But yeah, I liked the first Wargroove. I did not spend so much time on it. It became accessible for me when in the first major update they added a save point where you could like create a save point through a match and then just go back to that save point. That's what made the game accessible for me. Because then once I had save points, I felt more likely to take risks. Because if I screwed things up, well, hey, I could always just go back to the save point. So yeah, that made me like the game a lot more. Like when it originally launched, I was like, yeah, it's good. It's right, yeah, it works. But it was the update that really was like, yeah, okay. And I think they did a bunch of DLC that I never played. Yeah, I think there was a bunch of like Wargroove DLC that I never even touched. So maybe I'll go back to it. I don't know. Again, I'm not. That's a real-time turn-based strategy. I guess it'd be turn-based strategy. Because yeah, something like Pikmin's real-time strategy. Turn-based strategy is a genre that, in theory, I like. I think it's an interesting genre. In practice, though, I do find myself struggling with it. Kind of in the same way that I struggle with something like Monster Hunter. Because I hate spending like an hour to do something just to completely fuck it up and have to start all over again. And that's Monster Hunter. You can spend an hour fighting a single monster just to make one fucking mistake and have to redo it again for another hour. And I hate that. I hate that. But I do want to play Monster Hunter. Whatever the Rise, I think that's the one on Switch. I do want to play that. I bought it a year ago, maybe 2. Some point during the pandemic. And I've been like, yeah, I need to play that. And I never have. So yeah, so new Wargroove, cool. Cool. I know there was some sort of fucking controversy around the original Wargroove, but God, I don't remember what it was. It might have just been the developer Chucklefish that had the controversy. I don't remember. Were they... I don't think it was an NFT thing. I don't think it was an AI thing. They did something. God, I don't remember. It's been so long. And I don't have that great of a memory. So, yeah. I should maybe... You know, I might switch to the Flames. I don't know. I feel like I'm not really using the Kraken that much. Whereas Tentamissiles, you can always use Tentamissiles. Where's my freshest fit? Yeah, sure. Ready to see that 7.0 go down? I am. It's been a while since I've used the Flingza. I don't know, and I haven't committed myself to a new weapon yet. Yeah, any other big game announcements? Like, hey, this is brand new. Nothing I can think of. There might have been something, but nothing that really, like, stuck out to me besides those two. Delays, on the other hand, oh, did we get a few delays. So, the big one is Starfield. Right, Starfield, Xbox's Golden Boy... Their big game of the year. Originally, I had been predicting a June? I was predicting a June release date. Right around E3. That was my original prediction. I thought, oh, you know, that makes sense, you know, right around E3. Because you don't want to put anything in May. Right? May belongs to Breath of the Wild... or Tears of the Kingdom, and like there's one other game that's coming out in May. Right, they basically own the month. So you definitely don't want to do something there. And I know there are a few other games that I want to say pulled out of May as well. Or at least that announced, hey, guess what, we're not releasing in May. But I think that was like last week or 2 weeks ago. So, yeah. I don't know why I cough. It's bad tonight. I was not like this like an hour ago. But yeah, so my original prediction was June. That we were going to get some sort of big showcase. I don't know, maybe this month, maybe next month. And then the game was going to come out in June. Yeah, that turns out that's not what we're getting. Because they announced over this week that they are delaying the game until September. So it's got a new release date of September 6th. And that again, around the time I would have expected the original release date to be. That is now when the showcase is going to happen. They're going to do a big Starfield blowout showcase in June. Which makes sense, because also around that June date of the Starfield showcase, that is normally when E3 happens. It's literally that same weekend that, you know, Microsoft normally does E3. So the release date makes sense for why they're doing it on that day. But yeah, it's been delayed. Again, the big fear that, you know, normally this had never, like, slowed down Bethesda in the past. But the big thing they have to worry about is becoming the next Cyberpunk. Nobody wants to be the next Cyberpunk. Right? Because, you know, Skyrim and Fallout 4 were both games that released with myriads of bugs but nobody cared because the games were so much fun. But in a post-Cyberpunk world, and also post-Fallout 76, people, guess what? They give a shit now. People care about delays. Or people care about bugs. People now care about bugs. At least we're going to, we're going to claim to hold Bethesda to a higher standard. I don't know, if the game's fun, people... Like I said with Pokemon. If the game is fun, people won't give a shit. Right? If the game runs at a consistent frame rate. Because that's Skyrim has all of its bugs and whatnot, but it mostly runs at a consistent frame rate until you start, loading in mods. Same thing with Fallout 4. It runs at a mostly consistent frame rate until you start loading in mods. But Pokemon's main sin was that it didn't run at a consistent frame rate. Breath of the Wild, so far, has been running at a pretty consistent frame rate. And I know we don't really talk about Breath of the Wild's myriad of bugs, but they are there. I mean, literally, the bomb jumps and the fucking bullet time bounces, those are all bugs. We just don't like to talk about them like that, because, they're cool. And speedrunning. But they are bugs. So, yeah. But it makes sense that Starfield's getting delayed. I don't think there is a conceivable universe where that game doesn't come out and it is just absolutely a glitch to high heaven. Like, that's going to happen no matter how long they delay it. That's going to happen. But the big thing is, they have to get it in at least a more playable state. Because Cyberpunk just wasn't. I mean, I know some people had a decent time with it at launch, and I know people like it now. At least they seem more positive on it. But at launch, for many people, it was just unplayable. If they can at least get Starfield to a playable state. Doesn't even have to be a good state. Just has to be a playable state. That'll be enough for most people. As long as it consistently runs at fucking 30, 60 on Xbox, then yeah, people won't complain. Bugs aside, because that was also Fallout 76's problem, is that it ran like shit. It couldn't keep that frame rate, because it was an online game, for crap's sake. But yeah, so Starfield showcases in June, and that's one of our big Game of the Year contenders. Starfield, Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man. Right? 3 publishers, 3 big games. I was watching somebody's YouTube video where they were talking about how, oh yeah, everyone's excited for Legend of Zelda, but, it doesn't really have much going for it. You know what does, though? Starfield. That's the game that's going to revolutionize things. And I'm like, don't count... You're talking about Bethesda here. You're talking about Bethesda in a post-Cyberpunk world here. So the other game that got delayed, and this one actually kind of surprised me that this got delayed, is... God, I just couldn't get away. Is Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. So, based on the PlayStation showcase that happened, 2 weeks ago now, the game, it looked like another generic shooter game. Like your Destinies, like your Anthems, like your... God, there's... Honestly, those are the 2 that come to mind. A live service game. Nobody actually likes live service games. Right? They play them, and people are addicted to Destiny the same way people are addicted to fucking cocaine. But nobody actually... I say that, but no, people still play World of Warcraft, so... What the fuck do I know? And I know people still play Destiny, but again, cocaine. It's cocaine. I guess the more accurate comparison would be tobacco. People are addicted to Destiny the same way they're addicted to, cigarettes. Yeah, I feel like that's a better comparison. Because at least, like, cocaine gives you a high. Tobacco just gives you misery. God, we were doing so well, and then we blew it at the very end. I cannot fucking win tonight. We're, what, 6 games down, and I have not won once? God. But yeah, so Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. Now, there has not been a new release date. It was just like, hey... And this, they haven't even officially announced the delay. The delay was originally... God damn. The original person to bring up the delay was Jason Schreier. Over at... whatever website he's working for nowadays. I cannot remember. Right, he brought it up that the game is getting delayed because of the negative reception. Then somebody else came out. Was it Jeff Grubb? I don't think it was Jeff Grubb. But it was somebody else came out and was like, no, the game's probably getting delayed until 2024, according to his sources. And I want to say Jason Schreier speculated September as well. Because did this game also come out in May? It might have had like a May or April release date. But, right, so his sources say it's being delayed till next year. And see, the problem with these delays is that no matter how they delay it, I don't think they can fix this game. Because the game looking generic is one thing, right? Oh, you're a bunch of guys with guns, zipping around and shooting glowing purple orbs. Okay, what can you do with, let's just say, a hypothetical year of development time to change that? Not much. There's not much you can do to change that. But you know what? And, of course, this big speculation is, well, if they can't change that, then they need to make it not a live service game. But I want to say it was in Jason Schreier's report that he said that the game is being delayed for polishing and bug fixing and whatnot. And not to undo the live service. Right? The game was pitched as a live service, and they're going to keep it as a live service. But the only way to salvage this game, in my opinion, is to remove it as a live service. You know, everyone always said, I know in high-level play, Reef Slider is garbage, but I fucking suck with dealing with Reef Slider. It always gets me, and it pisses me off. I don't know why. But yeah, so literally the only way to salvage this game is to get rid of the live service aspect. Just make it a fucking game where you go around, you know, it can play very similar, but just actually have it so when you play the game, you, I don't know, get rewards for doing stuff, instead of it just being a fucking data entry video game, which is, again, one of the biggest problems with live services, is that they are just literally spreadsheet video games, where your goal is to get the number to go up. If you just make it an actual game where, you know, you get cool stuff, you unlock, you know, cool costumes and cool gear, and it's not about data entry, then yeah, people will like it. But guess what? They're not gonna, a year of development time won't let them do that. I mean, maybe they could get rid of the live service elements, but that doesn't change the main conceit of the game, which is still fucking data entry video game. Should that be a genre? Data entry video game? Or I guess I don't know, what's better? Data entry video game or spreadsheet video game? Right, where the entire point is just to get a higher number to do 0.2% more damage. I feel like, yeah, that should be its own genre. Like, I know we talked earlier in the week about JRPG, right, whether or not we should continue using the term. Which, yeah, you know, I'm fine with getting rid of the term JRPG. Turn-based RPG sounds perfectly fine to me. But yeah, no, I don't need data entry video games. No, sorry. So I don't think there's anything realistically, I don't think there is anything they can do even if they delayed it a full year. There is nothing they can do to fully salvage this game. It's just the truth of it all. Starfield, I still think Starfield could be fun. I honestly, part of me has a lot of hope for Starfield because it's not burdened. I use burden like it's a bad word, but it's because Fallout and Elder Scrolls were series before Bethesda started making them open world games. Starfield is something wholly original, so as a result, it can be its wholly original thing. Of course, do I expect it to play like something like Fallout 4, where you go to a place, kill the enemies, and then loot it before going to the next place? Yes, definitely. But that can still be fun. Again, Fallout 4 is a lot of fun. So, yeah. I don't know. I want that Suicide Squad game to be fun. Right? Again, I think all the cutscenes are fine. Every, cutscene and, story beat I've seen of that game looks decent. It's just the actual gameplay just is so generic. And I don't think you can save that. Which really sucks, because it's been a long time since Rocksteady's last video game. Their last Batman game was so long ago. Yeah. So, next up, the Mario Kart 8 DLC came out this week. And I have played it, and we're going to talk about it during WIBE. But as part of the DLC, we got some more information. Basically, the character select screen now shows 5... So they've added Birdo, but there are now 5 new question mark spots for new characters. So it begs the question, are we getting new characters? Or what 5 new characters are we getting? This basically confirms we're getting 5 new characters. But the question is now who? So who do I think are going to be the 5 new characters? I have thought long and hard about this. And so, let's just go through it. So the first one, I think the most likely character is Funky Kong. I know it would make sense for us to get Diddy Kong. Right? Diddy Kong is, pretty ambiguous in the Donkey Kong series. But Funky Kong just holds a special place in the Mario Kart franchise. There was no reason for Funky Kong to be in Mario Kart Wii, but he was. And as a result, a lot of people think very highly of him. Just because he literally got added to Tropical Freeze because he was in Mario Kart Wii. Because Mario Kart Wii made him popular again. And, there's the movie coming out, which he'll probably be in. We know in the movie trailer, the new movie trailer, I guess, Chunky is in it. So people were, rooting and tooting for that. And we'll talk about that next. But, yeah, it makes sense that, people... God, we were right. Fuck. God, I hate this. I'm doing awful tonight. Just absolutely god-awful. But it makes sense that, we get one Donkey Kong character. The 2 most likely are Diddy Kong and Funky Kong. I could see us getting both potentially. I could see us getting both of them. If I'm just being honest, I could see 2 of the characters being Diddy and Funky. But I would much rather have Funky over Diddy. If that makes sense, right? I think Funky would be a cooler character. Where the fuck was the rest of my team during that? I literally killed 3 of the 4 opposing team. And yet, I have no idea where the fuck my team was. God, I'm doing fucking awful tonight. Fucking hate this game now. But I'm not going back to Fall Guys. Talk about live services ruining a game. Fall Guys. We should have just kept playing Kirby. So yeah, I think Funky is our most likely one. It could be Diddy, and it could be Diddy and Funky. But honestly, I would put money on Funky before I would Diddy. And I feel like if we get one of them, it's actually less likely. Or if we get Diddy Kong, then I still think we get Funky. However, if we get Funky, I actually think it's less likely we get Diddy. Which is very weird, but I think it's the truth. So that's one character. Next up, Petey Piranha. Everybody seems to really want Petey Piranha. He was in Double Dash. He's in Tour. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't really have much... Honestly, Petey Piranha used to be a character I liked, but not anymore. You know, I kind of like, whatever. I think it was the fact that I replayed Sunshine and was just like, yeah, okay, Sunshine's not as good as I remember it. So yeah, I think Petey Piranha totally is possible. So that would be a second one. Next up, Pauline. So Pauline is, you know, she's been in all of the Mario sports games as of recently. She's in Strikers, she's in golf, she's in, I don't think she's in tennis, but she is in was she in tennis? Okay, Mario Golf, Mario Strikers. What Mario sports game am I? Tennis, Golf, Strikers. I'm forgetting a Mario sports game. I don't know which one, but I'm definitely forgetting a Mario sports game. Either way, Pauline's been in a lot of games recently. She's in Mario Kart Tour. I totally see her coming to Smash Bros. You know, or not Smash Bros. Is she in Smash Bros? I know she's an assist trophy, so I guess that counts. Or not an assist trophy. She's a spirit. No, but I totally see Pauline coming. I think she's a very likely... Honestly, I would probably put her above Petey Piranha. I would say she is second most likely. Next up... Kamek. So Kamek was originally supposed to be in Mario Kart 64, I want to say, but he was removed at the last minute to make way for somebody else. Or maybe he was originally in the SNES version, but then he was removed for Donkey Kong. I don't know. Kamek was supposed to be in a previous Mario game, but he got removed, and then he was added back in Mario Kart Tour. So he's in Mario Kart Tour, so it's very likely that he will come back. I think he's a very likely possibility for the fourth choice. Right? I think it makes a lot of sense for him to come in. And that leaves one more choice. Now, there are a lot of side Mario characters that are possible. You know, I know Monty Mole's in Tour. I know Paratroopers in Tour. There's, of course, 8-Bit Mario and 8-Bit Donkey Kong Jr. So there are a lot of other... I know Wiggler was a character... Which Wiggler on the Wiggler bike sounds very funny. Finally a win tonight. But yeah, so that's a very funny character. I think Wiggler and Queen Bee are two of the lowest character chances. Maybe up there with like Donkey Kong Jr. I think those are like the three lowest. Yeah. So the final character... So if you look at how characters are distributed in Mario Kart, right, they're very clearly based in, like, rows, right? Like, all the Koopalings are in one row. So I think it would make sense for Kamek to be in that row. There's clearly one row. Oh, God. Donkey Kong, and all of the bigger like the larger characters like Bowser and Dry Bowser are on one row, so it makes sense for Funky Kong to be there. A lot of the female characters are on one row. Not all of them. I know Peach and Birdo are up one row. But right, all your babies and like Daisy are on one row. So it makes sense for Pauline to be there. Right? It makes sense for certain characters to be in certain places. And the final row is all DLC, or all third-party characters. Or not third-party, just other Nintendo franchises, non-Mario franchises. So you've got... I didn't put it together until I was looking through this again. The big four Nintendo franchises are represented in Mario Kart. Just as a refresher, Nintendo's big four franchises. You know, kind of like how DC Comics has their big three of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Yeah, Nintendo has that. And it's Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, and Splatoon. Yeah, Splatoon is one of Nintendo's big four. And yeah, all of those games. Splatoon has 2 characters. Animal Crossing has, I think, 3 characters. And Zelda has 1. So, I think the next obvious thing would be, you know, if the final row is all third-party characters, then add another third-party character. The one people keep suggesting is Captain Falcon. I feel like every fan third-party character list I see, like I want to say the one Game Explains put together, had Captain Falcon on it. And like, I get that. You know, Captain Falcon's had been a long time since he had a game. He has a cart in 2 courses. So, you know, it would make sense for Captain Falcon. Like, I get where that's coming from. That's not coming from nowheres. But I don't want Captain Falcon. I don't like that idea. I mean, Link is cool, and I think Link fits fine. But, you know, Mario Kart has a certain feeling, and I'd want a character that feels like Mario Kart. And you know what character feels like Mario Kart? Who so much so that he was in a Smash Bros. Trailer, in a Mario Kart thing, to the point that, you know, it could have tricked you into thinking it was actually Mario Kart? Kirby. Kirby should be our our non-Mario Kart character. You know, he looks the part. You could add a Kirby course would be fantastic. You could add a Kirby course. You could add the Kirby Warp Star as a cart, like a cart body. That would be really cool. You know, maybe you throw in a fucking Kirby Air Ride reference in there. Maybe have the track be fucking the city trial. Or maybe, you know, like maybe that's the track. Maybe just, right, kind of like how the F-Zero tracks are references to the game, reference Kirby's Air Ride. That'd be really cool. Of course, I'd actually probably want like a Kirby track that's a lot like the new Yoshi track, right? Just filled with references and music and whatnot. But I can totally see Kirby as our final character. I think he is very... If we were going to get a third-party character, I think Kirby would fit perfectly. It'd be either... Or, you know, a non-Mario Kart. If we were to get a third-party character, like an actual, like, third-party, not Nintendo, I think the 2 obvious ones are Pac-Man, who Pac-Man has been in Mario Kart. He's been in the arcade games. And Sonic. Sonic has his own racing game, however, so I don't think that one's going to happen. But I think Sonic would make a lot of sense in Mario Kart. He is a Mii costume in Mario Kart 8. So I think that would make a lot of sense. But I don't know if that's actually ever going to happen. So yeah, those are Sonic or Pac-Man, but no, I really want it to be Kirby. There's been a lot of other suggestions I've seen thrown out, right? And I kind of don't like any of them, honestly. I really don't like any of them. And you don't need to put Diddy Kong in the game. Just re-release Diddy Kong Racing, and people will be happy. I'd also be fine with Samus. You know, I doubt Samus will make it in, because Metroid is a series that feels like if you were to show people Nintendo's franchises, or I feel like a lot of people would guess Metroid is bigger than it actually is. Because Metroid, at least as a kid, Metroid felt huge, right? You had a Metroid game, a Mario game, and a Zelda game on the NES, on the SNES, on the Game Boy. Metroid felt huge. And nope, turns out the game's never actually sold that well, and Nintendo doesn't actually think very highly of Metroid. Right? But it amassed a massive cult following, which is why it still gets games now every once in a while. Yeah. So, more Mario Kart stuff. Now, the other Mario Kart thing that I do have to talk about is... So, in previous graphics, when they talk about the DLC, they would show a graphic that would be like, hey, all DLC will be released by December 2023. So, right, it gives us that strict date of like, yep, everything will be out by then. And I know Smash Bros. Did the same thing, right? All DLC will be out by whatever the date was that they originally gave. But then, interestingly enough, with Smash Bros., right before they revealed the final DLC character, they took that message away and then announced Wave 2 of the DLC Season Pass. So now that they've... So in the most recent Mario Kart trailer, they've taken that message away that says, right, all DLC will be released before December. And now the thing also specifically highlights that this is what's coming in Waves 1 through 6. Right? There's like now a new message that specifically highlights those 6 waves. That was not there before. So that's leading a lot of people to speculate that maybe Nintendo's going to do another wave of DLC. Right? I mean, they've got 2 waves left. And what? So what? They announced what? The next wave has what? 2 new characters. And then the final wave has 3 new characters? The other thing I want to point... I know we're talking about new characters. But there's also, if you look at the item select screen that was newly added, there are spots for 2 new items. So I also do think that I would not be surprised is if one of the next 2 updates, they add back in the, like, giant Bowser shell from Double Dash. Which is also in Mario Kart Tour, I should say. And I know there's a bunch of other items in Mario Kart Tour that I could also see added in. But yeah, it would not surprise me if they add in 2 new items, 5 new characters, and who knows, maybe they do another few waves of DLC. That would actually be very cool. I don't expect another full 2 years of DLC. Like, I know, right, we really want Mario Kart 9. I get it. But honestly, the more DLC we get, it literally feels like a new game at this point. I don't think I'm alone on thinking that, right? Like, yeah, I know it's a lot of remastered tracks, but there are a lot of good tracks. Like, even some of the generic ones, like, they brought back Mario Circuit from DS. You know, it's actually kind of fun. And some of the new courses, the new Yoshi course, fantastic course. Right? I really do feel like they're doing great stuff with this DLC. So if they... I think another 6 waves is kind of unrealistic. But another 3? Or another... I'm going to say another 2 to 4 waves? Yeah, I could see it. They keep adding in new core... Again, I would love to see them add in more characters, more kart parts. Basically just keep adding the game as if they're turning it into Mario Kart 9. As if instead of doing Mario Kart 9, they basically just took all the content they had made for Mario Kart 9 and put it into Mario Kart 8. I kind of at this point have no problem with that. Again, I want Nintendo Kart. I think Nintendo Kart is a fantastic idea, and I'd love to see it someday. But the way they're supporting Mario Kart 8 has been great. I've been thoroughly enjoying the game, and I would love to see more of it. So yeah, if they decide to do another 2 to 6 waves of DLC, I don't think they're going to do 1. 1 would be a very weird number, and I don't think they would do more than 6. I'd be down. I'd be there for it. Sure, go right ahead, Nintendo. Yeah, I've been on a Mario Kart 8 kick recently. Right? I unlocked every kart piece. I went back and I did all the time trials and the trophies and everything. Yeah. I mean, I held out on that game. Like, I did not pick it out when it released in, like, May 2017. I don't think I picked it out until, like, probably summer 2020? Definitely during the pandemic. And that was before the DLC had even been announced. I probably would have bought the game when the DLC was announced again. Because, yeah, it is a very good game. And yeah, I want Mario Kart 9. But I'm honestly fine with what we're getting right now. I mean, it's so much in a single video game. It's really impressive, actually. So yeah, I'm down if they do another $30 season pass that, you know, comes with the same amount of content. Yeah, I'd be there. I'd play that again. You know, but yeah, I would love to see or even if they do like a smaller pass that, you know, just adds a few more stages, but is mostly focused on adding new kart parts. Because there are and skins, right? There's, I guess, one of the pictures they uploaded for like promotion has a picture. It's a picture of Daisy, but without her crown, which has led a lot of people to think that, wait, why would Daisy, if they're just using the 3D model from the game, why would she not have her crown unless they're using costumes? Because I guess the new course, Amsterdam Drift, is Daisy's course in Mario Kart Tour. So, right, and I guess she has like a special outfit for that game that doesn't have a crown. Like, you can only see her head, so we can't actually see the rest of her. But I guess there's a lot of speculation that maybe they'll start adding in costumes. And I could see that, right? We've already got all the different colors for Yoshi and Birdo and Shy Guy and whatnot. So why not add in, like, they play exactly the same, but hey, it's a new costume for Mario, Dr. Mario. Hey, it's the new Daisy costume that people like. Hey, it's Mario Santa Claus. Hey, it's the fucking star dress Rosalina. Right? Just do all that. I'd be fine with that. And then add, like, some of the special carts that are only in Tour. Sure. More customization's always cool. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying Mario Kart 8. Again, we'll talk about it here in a minute. But first, let's talk about the Mario movie. So we got another Direct from Nintendo that is the final trailer for the Mario Brothers movie. Because it was Mario Day. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I was actually, because I had been predicting that the Mario Kart DLC was going to come out in, like, April? Like, early April. And then I was really surprised when it was coming out in March. And I think I even mentioned this last week. Like, I was really surprised. And then I remembered, oh, it's Mario Day. Okay, that makes sense. That's exactly why they did it. Why they also released Metroid Fusion on that day, I have no idea. But, yeah. So, yeah, we got a new trailer for the Mario Brothers movie. It's actually a very small trailer. We get to see Luma. There's a Luma in it. Which, you know, the Luma's cute, talking about death and destruction and all that jazz. That was cute. If the Mario movie is successful and they immediately greenlight a sequel, I could see the pitch for the sequel being Mario Galaxy. Right? If the Mario movie has a post-credit stinger that is Rosalina or something like that, I would not be surprised. I think that would make a lot of sense. Because I know there's tons of other Mario games between the original and Galaxy. But I feel like Galaxy is the logical progression for a Mario Brothers movie. It just kind of makes sense. Oh, did I not? Wait, am I just completely offline? Okay, no, there we go. Just took a second. So, yeah. But the new trailer, so we got that. Fire Donkey Kong. We see Donkey Kong using a fire flower for the first time. Which, you know, Why wasn't Donkey... They just remade Super Mario 3D World. Why didn't they add Donkey Kong to that? That would have been very cool. They could have... Could you imagine Cat Donkey Kong? That would have been very funny. That could have been a great addition. I don't know why they didn't do that. That would have been awesome. But yeah, so that's cool. Fire Flower Donkey Kong looks great. We get a bit of an extended sequence on the Rainbow Road part, where we see them, you know, take the shortcut from 64. Which, yeah, the directors literally came out and talked about, right, they wanted to represent the video games in every aspect. So they, you know, they threw everything in the kitchen sink into the movie, which normally is a bad thing. Like, when you hear a movie that has everything in the kitchen sink, that's usually a bad thing. But here it looks great. And God, the music in this trailer. They have a remix of the Underground theme from the original game. Sounds fantastic. But yeah, the extended Mario Kart scene looks great. I'm super impressed with that. All around, everything here looked fantastic. It's another great trailer. You know, they still got Jack Black coming out, and he's still fucking awesome. I guess he was on, was it Kelly Clarkson's show? And he was in full Bowser get-up, which is very funny. Who doesn't love Jack Black? Like, let's be honest here. Who doesn't love Jack Black? But yeah, so I think it's a great trailer. We're definitely at the point in movie trailer, right, where it's like, I probably actually don't recommend watching it. Just because I feel like the more, right, you really, when it comes to movie trailers, you should only ever watch the first one. Because after the first one, they just give away too much. God, that's Shazam that comes out next week. Whatever the most recent trailer was, just gave away way too fucking much. Even the new Fast and the Furious, the reveal trailer, I felt like gave away too much. But yeah, so new Mario trailer looks great. Of course, tickets are available now. I have not bought any. But, you know, I'll do it when it gets closer to the date. I said I'm more... Oh, I gotta see Shazam. I gotta see John Wick 4. Yeah, I went and dug out my copies of the first 3 John Wick movies. Dug out. I dug out my copy of the first John Wick movie. Which I literally... I know this is a story that's on the internet. I saw the second John Wick before I saw the first one. Because they took all the John Wicks off of HBO Max like 2 weeks ago. Okay, it actually probably is actually closer to a month now. It's been a while. But yeah, so I had to go dig out my copy of the first one. And I think I have the second and third ones digital. Yeah, I'm excited for whatever new John Wick. It's going to be great. I think that's in 2 weeks. Yeah. So I guess that takes us to WIBE. So how do I want to start that? Let's start with food. So food-wise, I went to KFC. So normally, I'll be honest, KFC is, of the chicken places, KFC is the middle ground of chicken places. They're not as good as Popeyes, but they're not as bad as Church's. They're worse than Raising Cane's. But again, Popeyes. Popeyes is where it's at. But, you know, I hadn't had KFC in years. And then, like, last year, I was like, you know what, I'll try it again. And it was fine. But this week, they re-released the Double Down chicken sandwich. You know, the chicken sandwich with chicken instead of buns. Which, God, I remember the internet freaking out when that originally happened. And nowadays, it's just so mundane. Like, wow. Right? But I didn't, when they originally did it, right, I didn't have it. Because, again, don't really go to KFC. But I was like, you know what? I'll go try this Double Down. Sure, why not? My weird obsession with food, why not? So I went and got that. I got the Mountain Dew, which I'd only ever had, which I don't even think the last time I went there I even got it. The peach flavor. So the Double Down chicken sandwich is fine. You know, it's not like dripping grease like you would expect. You know, or at least that's what I expected. I expected to just like touch it and my fingers just get absolutely covered. Like, you know, like you're eating like a New York style pizza. No, it's not like that at all, actually. Oh my god. I did not expect to actually land on that grate. But yeah, so it was fine. I'll be honest, it was fine. It reminded me of a chicken cordon bleu. So if you don't, chicken cordon bleu, it's cheese wrapped in ham, wrapped in chicken. Right? It's actually pretty good. It's actually like you have to get a good ratio for it. Right? Like there's a perfect ratio of cheese to ham to chicken, and some places screw that up and they give you way too much of they actually usually give you too much chicken and just not enough cheese. It's usually that's the part they screw up, is not giving you enough cheese. But it's pretty good. And the sandwich is literally just, it tastes like chicken cordon bleu. Right? The cheese tastes like it. It's, instead of ham, it's got bacon. It's, you know, still pig. So I thought it was fine. Fine sandwich. The KFC fries, fine. You know, I'm not much of a fry guy anymore. At least I feel myself less and less like one. And the Mountain Dew, I actually kind of liked. I'm not a big, like, if I'm going somewhere, I definitely don't get, like, a peach flavor drink. Like, peach is not, like, a peach iced tea. Gosh, no. Peach is definitely not my flavor of drink. But this was not bad. Honestly, I kind of liked the peach Mountain Dew. It was a lot better than I expected it to be. So yeah, it's no Baja Blast, for like restaurant exclusive. It's no Baja Blast, because Baja Blast is the perfection. But it's still, I actually did like it. It's definitely better than the gingerbread Mountain Dew, the hot Cheetos Mountain Dew, God, what other terrible Mountain Dews have I had recently? Right, it's better than all of those, at least. I don't think we're winning. But yeah, so the Double Down, do I recommend it? I don't know, it was kind of expensive. So I don't know if I would recommend it. Like, I definitely do think, yeah, I would easily get a Popeye's chicken sandwich over a Double Down. We definitely lost. Yeah. But it wasn't the worst thing I've ever had. Not by a long shot. Definitely not, and not even the worst thing I've had from KFC. So it's at least got that going for it. So yeah, that's the one food stuff I've tried. Well, yeah, let's just go with that. There's technically one other thing, but I'm not gonna worry about that. Yeah. Because it's not like a special limited edition item thing. The next thing I got, video games. What video games have I been playing? Not really Splatoon. No, not really Splatoon. You know, Villain Arc really hasn't even started. Like, I'm always like, oh yeah, Villain Arc is here. And then I just don't do anything because I don't play the game. Maybe the Villain Arc is not playing the game. I guess let's talk about Mario Kart. So the new Mario Kart DLC came out. I really like it. Honestly, I think it's pretty decent. The new Yoshi's Island stage is fantastic. It's a great stage. You know, all the music is great. It really does feel like a third, like, you know how like the third party, or the non-Mario Kart, I keep saying third party. You know how like the non-Mario Kart stages like do different things? Like the Animal Crossing stages, the coins for bells, the Zelda stage does rupees, Right, this kind of does that, right? All the coins become Yoshi coins. There's a special second pathway that you can take that gets you, that if you hit the cloud box, that can get you the goal, which is awesome every time you take it. Every time I took it, it felt amazing. So that was always really cool to get whenever you get that. Right? It's kind of like how, you know, the Zelda stage has that special thing where you can, if you hit the 3 things in a row, it creates a middle path. It's kind of like that, but at the end of a stage. You know, it's a special thing that you're not going to get every time. But when you do, it's always awesome to get. Yeah, that's great. What other? The other tracks in that level, Amsterdam is fine. I actually I don't love it or anything. I think it's fine. What else was in that one? The DK Summit. I love DK Summit. And the Wii version, the new version, is great. It plays just like it. They even brought back the shortcut. I'm really... Because part of me, like, part of the reason I wondered if they weren't going to bring back the Wii stages was because of the half-pipe mechanic. And then they just added the half-pipe mechanic back into the game in the last update. And it works great in Maple Treeway, and it works great here. So, yeah. Of course, they made it zero gravity thing, which is, yeah, awesome. So, yeah, I think DK Mountain, or DK Summit, or whatever the stage is called, is great. It's a great winter stage. All the shortcuts are still there. It still plays great. I know there's 2 stages I'm forgetting in that map. No, I don't think Mario Circuit is in that. So the other course that I can remember from the other track is it starts off with Bangkok Rush or whatever, which is an okay stage. Like, there are some interesting moments where you're in the water, but it's not, like, deep enough for you to actually turn into, like, your water form. So instead you're just, you're, like, driving through, like, knee-high water. That's a great stage. Or that's a great moment. The same thing, there's a moment where you're, like, riding on top of, the slipway. Or where you're, not the slipway, where you're riding on top of, like, balloons. That's another pretty great moment. I'm pretty sure you can take the upper level on that stage as well. Which is kind of, I haven't done it, but I see, like, the ramp up. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat. I don't know, I always screw up the turn at the end. But I think Bangkok is fine. It's probably actually maybe the worst stage in the thing, but I still think it's fine. I don't know. It's either that or Mario Circuit. Mario Circuit is fine. It's the one from Tour where they added in the trees and there's a wiggler on the 3rd stage, and you get that great shot where you jump out of the forest and you see Peach's castle in the background and it looks great. I know people... It's a very generic track, but I like it. I like DS's Mario Kart Tour. It's nothing special... But it holds but, you know, it's neat. It's a fine stage. I feel like the update is good. Waluigi Stadium is great. Right? It plays exactly like how I remember it. I think they added some new... I don't remember those upper shortcuts being in the original. I could totally be wrong about that. The stage looks more like Chocolate Mountain, like Chocolate Canyon, than actual Choco Canyon. Like, it looks like chocolate. But the actual stage plays, you know, it plays fine. I like it. You know, it's a very simple stage, but, you know, most of the, like, Wario Stadium is great. So, yeah, Waluigi Stadium, also pretty good here. And then the final stage in the cup, and I don't remember which cup this is, I just know it's a cup, is Singapore Sprint. And, you know, I get, like, most courses start off with a tour course, but ending with one is kind of a risky move, because, you know, it's a Mario Kart Tour course. But I'll be honest, Singapore Sprint, I think it's Singapore Sprint, is a great stage. It's got a lot of spectacle to it, right? You're shooting out of a cannon early on, you're gliding across, like, a fucking infinity pool. You come down and you go through, like, you can go either on top of a subway or skip around it. There's just a lot. How did they get me? I felt like I was off to the side enough, but I guess not. Singapore Sprint is a genuinely great... It's probably the best tour stage. Right? It's got all the spectacle. There's this cool tunnel part at the end that technically isn't anything amazing, but I really like it. So yeah, I was really impressed with Singapore Sprint. I think it is a great track to end off on. Right? Kind of like the Yoshi stage ends off, right? You gotta end a Grand Prix with a bang. You know, that's why Rainbow Road's always at the end. And this one's a great ending. So yeah, color me impressed. I was hoping to kill them before. I'm definitely forgetting 2 tracks. Because I know the first track starts off with Amsterdam and then ends with Yoshi. What 2 tracks am I forgetting? To be fair, I haven't played much of all the tracks. I've played them each, what, twice, I think? What other tracks am I forgetting? Either way, I think the DLC is fine. So I think whatever tracks I'm forgetting are also fine. They're nothing amazing, but they're nothing terrible either. Whatever they are. And now the other thing, so they added Birdo, who is fine, but they also did a balance patch for the game. But the balance patch, I don't care about your games. The balance patch for the game is interesting because they didn't nerf anybody. They instead just buffed things. So nothing got nerfed, and instead they just buffed everything. Basically, every character in the weight class lower than Waluigi got a buff. So yeah, every weight class Waluigi or lower than not Waluigi himself, but everything lower than that got buffed. They buffed a bunch of new carts and whatnot. So, you know, Waluigi used to be the old meta, right? Waluigi, Wiggler, Small Blue Wheels, Paper Glider. Looks like that's not the case anymore. I guess someone did a video of, like, using Mario on the standard cart with the standard wheels and the standard glider, and it did just as good, if not better, than Waluigi Wiggler. So yeah, instead, which is a valid... Mark Brown once made a video about, like, balancing your game. And I remember one of his solutions was just to buff stuff, right? Instead of nerfing characters, what if you just buff everything, right? That's technically a good, right, attempt at balancing thing. Was it Brawl Minus, which was a Smash Bros mod, where its concept was, if everything's OP, then nothing is. And it was actually a pretty fun... I don't like Project M, but I liked Brawl Minus. Brawl Minus was fun. So yeah, I think that, yeah, balancing over nerfing was the right thing to do in this sort of situation. Now, I am partially biased because supposedly my main, Rosalina, is now the best character in the game. Up there with Link and whoever else is in that weight class. What is it? Light? Heavy, I think, is the class. Basically, like, because, you know, there's... I don't know how to explain weight classes. I just know that, right, Waluigi is no longer the GOAT. It's now, right, Rosalina, Link, and I want to say King Boo is the third one. But I know people were immediately, like, upon the DLC coming out, because Nintendo did that fucking thing that they used to do a lot, and I thought they had gotten better at, which was they didn't provide any patch notes, right? Because that used to be, like, during, like, the old Smash Bros. Days, and during, right, Mario Kart, and during Splatoon's early state, like Splatoon 1. Nintendo would be like, oh, we've updated the game, but then they didn't actually tell us what they updated. And yeah, that's exactly what they did here. They updated the game, but they didn't tell us what they updated. Which kind of sucks, you know? Tell us what you changed. But I guess originally people did some testing and were like, oh, the new meta is King Boo with the cat cart And I want to say it was the same wheels and the same glider, but like that was the new meta. And I've heard, again, and then there's that someone did the test with the standard cart, and it worked really well. And I guess, so I think the meta is in flux right now. Like, people were immediately declaring, like, this is the new meta, cat cart. But I think we're actually going to see the meta shift. I think they've made, instead of, you know, everyone online playing Waluigi Wiggler, I think they've made a bunch of stuff more viable now. So I don't think there, I hope there's not going to be, because right before, it was Waluigi Wiggler. I knew some people who played, like, Roy, Buggy, like Beetle Buggy and whatnot. But hopefully they've made a lot of stuff more viable, so now we're going to see more unique combinations online. That's the hope anyways. I don't know. They've completely shifted the meta, so we're definitely going to have... So as someone who plays the game a fair bit, you know, I'm definitely going to have to adjust and learn the new meta. Because, right, I don't use the Waluigi Wiggler. I have, but never like... It's never like a, oh yeah, let's use Waluigi Wiggler. Right? It's more of like, oh, I have to, like, I have to do a really hard time trial. Guess I'll use Waluigi Wiggler. But for the most part, I play with what I like. Right? That's always been me. I play what I like. So, yeah. But yeah, but Rosalina being meta is cool. I'm happy for that. If it continues to be true. Again, I'm getting my ass kicked tonight. I'm doing awful. What else? So, I've been playing... So, if you remember... So, I think last week we talked about how in Pokemon, I was getting my ass kicked. Right? I did Walking Wake. We're gonna switch over to Salmon Run. I'm done getting my ass kicked for tonight. Let's switch over to Salmon Run. So I was kind of tired of getting my ass kicked. Or I was kind of... So yeah, in Pokemon, right, we did Walking Wake. I did it in like my first like 3 tries. I just used Iron Hands and it worked great. And I've actually done it a few more times since then. I've done it at least twice more. I've been able to defeat Walking Wake. Iron Leaves, on the other hand, has just been impossible. I have had absolutely no luck beating Iron Leaves. It's just been an awful, terrible, no good, very bad time. And so throughout the week, I have been working on it. Right? I've been trying to beat Iron Leaves. I talked last week about how I created a new, Well, no, if you beat it, you can get the other one. It's just very hard to get the other one. Because I don't know why. I don't know why it's so hard to get the one not from your game. Maybe it's because you have to work with 4 randos online. But yeah, so I'd been working all week to try to get Iron Leaves. And I had absolutely no luck. And because I literally created a Goldingo that you know was designed to take on Iron Leaves. That wasn't working. So I readjusted my Ceruledge to take on it. I gave it Phantom Sneak? It's Phantom something. I don't think it's Phantom. It might be Phantom Force. I gave it that move. And I gave it Clear Smog to get rid of the stat boosts. Yeah, you can only get 1. So you can't get like multiples. But yeah, you can get them off randos. So yeah, right, I literally I redid my Ceruledge just to get, just to beat this thing. And eventually, after this happened earlier today. After hours of playing, I finally gotten a good run where I was able to get, me and my team were able to beat Iron Leaves, and I got it. So I have both of them now, right? Iron Wake from Scarlet, Walking Wake from Scarlet, which is the game I'm playing, and then I was able to finally defeat an opposing raid with Iron Leaves and get that one. So it was a pain in the ass, but yeah, It took me... Oh, and I had to do it today because the event ends tomorrow. Admittedly, they're probably going to do the event again in April. So, like, if you didn't get it, you'll have time to get it again later. But, yeah, I was... I literally cut it down to the wire. Do I have the... I don't know if I have a clip of me catching it, but... Let's see, is there a clip of me defeating it? So, here we are near the end. So, this is... Okay. How do I pause it? So, here we are at the end. It's me, my Ceruledge, a Scizor, a King Gambit, and a Skeledirge. And this is the first time we had... This is either... Maybe it's the second time I have ever broken this thing's shield. The shield on Iron Leaves is so fucking strict. And this is the second time ever I had done it. So, right, we're doing it. And then so we're near the end here. And we're just Phantom Force. There you go. Phantom Force, which worked great. And we're just all trying to spam moves because we're almost out of time here. And look how close we are. They get off the foul play, and that's it. We win. See, it's because it's easier to get with CPUs. It literally is easy to get with the CPUs. Right? They make it easier. But trying to play with other randos online, it's very hard. They actually... I'm pretty sure they give the enemy more health if you're playing against it online. So yeah, I finally, after a week of trying... Because, I was able to get Walking Wake, which is the Scarlet one, very easily. No problem whatsoever. But I finally did it. I caught it. So I now, once again, have every Pokemon. Because that was my big, horror. Was, I'm going to play through the game. I'm not going to be able to get Iron Leaves. And I, once again, will not have every Pokemon. But no, I got it. So I have both now. And so I, once again, have every Pokemon. Thank goodness. But no, it sucked. It absolutely sucked to do. I hated it so much. It took me all week. So I now have both of them. I heard that despite Walking Wake being a stronger Pokemon, Iron Leaves is the harder terrestrial fight. I totally believe that. And again, it's mainly because I was playing Scarlet that I had an easier time with Walking Wake. But I feel like Walking Wake, you can also use the Iron Hands on, which is kind of the best strategy in the game. Whereas Iron Leaves, it's a Psychic type, so you can't do that. That just doesn't work. So yeah. Because yeah, Iron Hands had no problem against Walking Wake. Whatsoever. But I did it. I used King Gambit for Iron Leaves. Yeah, the common Pokemon seems to be King's Gambit. Basically, those four I showed in that battle. Right? King's Gambit, Iron Leaves. I guess people have had great success with Scizor. Because... Yeah. Because Dark type, yeah. But yeah, no. I used Goldingo. Which... I bet if I was doing it solo with CPUs, I bet Goldingo would have done fine. A Shadow Ball Goldingo. But playing with randos online, it's just so much harder, and it just doesn't work. But Ceruledge finally, it was Phantom Force. That's what, because Phantom Force, you go under, it's like Dig, you disappear for a turn. So that way, if it gets enough stat boosts, if it uses Swords Dance enough, it can one-shot you, even though you resist, even though the attacks aren't that effective. But Phantom Force makes you immune for a turn. Yeah, I say I say it like the animal. Like the dingo, like the Australian animal. Yeah, I finally, after over a week of trying, I finally beat it. God, what a pain in the ass it was. I hated it. I hated it so much. It sucked so bad. But I did it. And now I never have to do it again. Unless, you know, Scarlet. Well, yeah, it's King's Gambit. Ah, whatever. You know, there is no correct way to pronounce Pokemon names. There never has been. There is no correct way to pronounce Pokemon names. Rayquaza, Arceus, Arceus, Bokoblin, Bokoblin, Hydro City, Hydrocity. There is no correct way. Oh, I fucking hate... There's that TikTok of that girl who's like, oh, these are common words you might have first heard in books, and here's how to pronounce them correctly. And it's just like... It's like table as like tablé. And it's just... Oh my god, it's so bad. Those videos. They drive me crazy. Yeah, it's a chess... Yeah, it's always been a chess thing. Huh. Oh my god, there's 3 of them here. Oh, come on. It didn't give us that one. Okay, we're in a lot of trouble here. Okay. As long as that one person stays alive, we've met the quota. Oh, shit. So yeah, so I finally beat Pokemon, so I'm done with Pokemon now until either they announce another big event, which I know there's a Rowlet event coming up, but I kind of don't care. And it's so crazy that this 5-star event was harder for me than, like, the 7-star event. Gah. What a pain. But yeah, so I know there's, like, a Rowlet Decidueye event coming up. But really, I feel like I'm kind of done with Pokemon until, like, the next DLC or whatever. Which is still a while away. So, yeah. And then the only other thing I've been playing is Kirby, right? I talked about it last week, how I went to pick up the new Kirby game and they wouldn't sell it to me. Week later, I tried again, and guess what? They sold it to me this time. They had copies, so yep, I picked up the new Kirby game. I'm not very far into it, but hey. You know, it's a great... Kirby games are great, right? Nothing's changed there. I still love Kirby games, so I'm super excited for, you know, whatever comes next. Or, you know, to play through the game. I want to do the, you know, the Magalore realm thing, but I'm not far enough into the game yet to do that. So yeah, I gotta beat the game at least once before I can do that. But when I will, you know, I'm sure that'll be great when that happens. Yeah, what else have I been playing? Yeah, so I'm very early on in... I don't know, I Let's Played Kirby Return to Dreamland years ago. So, like, that's already a Let's Play I've done. You can literally watch it on YouTube. I think the YouTube archive still exists. It'd be weird if it didn't. So, yeah, that's a game I already played, but I'm playing through it again. Yeah, I'd only just started, but... You know, I got messed up by that Pokemon thing. You know, having to redo... That Iron Leaves just took me so long. That part of me was, yeah, worried that I was never going to be able to beat it. But I did. So now I just don't gotta worry about it anymore. Oh, we're one short, and I don't think we'll make it. Nope. So yeah, anything else? Oh, so I don't remember. Did we talk about South Park last week? So there was a new South Park. I don't think we did. And I don't even know if we talked about the one before that. I know we talked about the premiere. Last week's South Park was great. Because it was all about Japanese toilets. So for years now, and we've talked about this before on stream, I have been a big fan of the bidet. I think bidets are great. And so South Park doing an episode about Japanese toilets and bidets. I'm no Kennedy, you know. I legitimately think you can get by fine with a like $20, $30 bidet that just attaches to your toilet. You don't need anything fancy. I mean, sure, you know, the ones with seat warmers and whatnot are kind of cool. But like a $10,000 Japanese toilet, nah. Again, I'm not a Kennedy. But last week's South Park was great. You know, I feel vindicated. This week's South Park, though, is all about ChatGPT. And I read stories in like the news every week about ChatGPT. You know, Discord literally just had a story like yesterday talking about how they're going to be integrating a chatbot into Discord. You know, Snapchat's trying to do a chatbot. Twitter, of course, Elon Musk is trying to do it. Elon GPT that is, you know, conservative based, that will say the N-word because Elon Musk is a fucking weirdo. So yeah, ChatGPT is one of those things where it's like, kind of like AI art. I think there is a use for it. I think you can do good things with it. But I also think there are tons of awful, no good, terrible things you can do with it. And so far, the problem is, and you know, the South Park episode even points this out, like, as long as corporations are using it, so far nothing good has actually happened with it. Because, you know, these multi-billion-dollar corporations, like Microsoft, are, you know, just using it for money and profit and whatnot. And that we have to be, like, I know there's all these things about, like, artists having their art stolen to, you know, use an AI art. But yeah, I do definitely see merit to it. It's just so far, nobody has done anything good with it. But the South Park episode, and I say that, but like I've seen, like, I know College Humor did a joke once where they had an episode, like a College Humor episode of Hardly Working, written by like one of these AIs. And that was back in like 2018, if not earlier. Yeah, it might have been later. But yeah, I do definitely think there is merit to something like this. And yeah, I think South Park does great use of it, right? Having the end of the episode just be solved by ChatGPT, but while also pointing out the big problems in ChatGPT that, you know, by having it write the end of the story, it writes a completely unsatisfying narrative. And then it's clear that Matt Stone has been sick these past 2 weeks. because literally none of his characters have shown up in any of the episodes, with the exception of Butters. Butters was in this had like 2 lines in this most recent episode. Other than that, yeah, any character voiced by Matt Stone has not been in the past 2 weeks of South Park. Which, you know, he probably has like a cold or something. But yeah, that was definitely something I was like, huh, okay. I'm good I'm not the only one who's noticed that. Because it's weirdly suspicious that Kyle hasn't been in any episodes these past few weeks. But yeah, so New South Park was great. So, yeah, and then the other TV show I've been watching is Moon Girl. So we talked 2-3 weeks ago about the new Moon Girl on Disney, and I liked it. I thought it was a fun show. You know, the first 6 episodes were pretty good. You know, you got some fun characters, some fun villains, some great music, some stellar animation. So I was like, yeah, I'm really enjoying this. And then I went on Disney Plus yesterday or 2 days ago, and I saw they had added more episodes. They added episodes 7 through 11. And I was like, yeah, sure, cool, let's do this. So I sat down and I watched them, so let's go over that. So the first of the new episodes is Goodnight Moon Girl, which I thought was fucking hilarious. So this new episode deals with Moon Girl she creates a device that attempts to read people's minds. Right? Like, that's its original intention. But she screws up, and instead, it switches her mind with devils. So her and Devil switch minds. And that's just very funny. So you get Devil, who is like trying to pretend to be Lunella, and then Lunella, because they're at like a slumber party, and Lunella's like super scared of slumber parties because she's never had a good experience at one. But you know, she's trying. But, you know, she keeps switching place with Devil because the device is confused for a TV remote. I love body switching episodes. I know body swapping episodes are hit and miss for people. Some people really like them. Some people do not. I personally do. I think body swapping episodes are a lot of fun. And to that end, I think this episode was a lot of fun. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it was a very fun, very solid episode. You know, having Devil be the popular one at the slumber party is very funny. I just need one more. Oh, shit. So yeah, that was a great episode. I love the volleyball team that's hosting this slumber party. They're all great. Specifically the captain and her little brother. That's really funny. Because there's no supervillain in this episode. Instead, at the end, the remote gets stolen by the snotty little brother. And so that was all great. I thought it was a very fun, very funny episode. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it's the highlight of the show, but I really liked it. I really did like it. Then next up, we had Teacher's Pet, where, you know, because Devil Dinosaur is basically like a dog. So he gets jealous of another pet, which is another classic, you know, TV trope. One pet gets jealous of the new pet. So we see Devil get jealous of a hamster named Angel. It's Angel, right? Angel, Devil, ha ha ha, very funny. And so he gets jealous, and then the hamster, he originally loses the hamster, but it gets found by the Rat King, who definitely, oh god, who does he remind me of? I don't know, but they give the Rat King a villain song, and it's great. I enjoyed the Rat King's villain song, which, yeah, this show's got a lot of villain songs in it. I didn't, until that moment, I hadn't realized it. But you have the Rat King gets a song. There's another villain that gets a song in one of these episodes. The Beyonder had a villain song, who I did not realize the Beyonder was voiced by Lawrence Fishburne. That I didn't realize that until I think it was because the Beyonder shows up again as like the because you know he was the narrator in the first few episodes, so he shows up again as the narrator, and he was great. He was great in both of the episodes he showed up in to, you know, give the backstory of the Rat King, give the backstory of whoever else. But yeah, the show's got great villain songs. They've got a few of them. So yeah, you know, the Rat King was he's a fine villain. I like he sets out this whole Rube Goldberg machine to catch Lunella. God, we lost a lot of points there. Holy shit. He sets up this whole Rube Goldberg machine to catch Lunella. And then she just easily steps out of the way just to be caught in a different trap. That was funny. So yeah, a solid episode. Skip the Adolescence is a weird one, because she creates a fast forward button that can fast forward through all the boring stuff. But, you know, she learns the lesson that, hey, the boring stuff is important too, right? Because she misses, like, a lot of important conversations, a lot of, like, inside jokes, stuff like that, you know. This is a very, again, there's a lot of, you know, common episode types, but that's fine, you know. Have fun with it. Oh, God, the song at the beginning of the episode was... Because, you know, it's like, oh, we're cleaning the house, so, oh, Oldies is on. God, I love that song, though. I'm forgetting which song they used. But I was like, oh, yeah, fucking jam into this, man. Which I guess is, you know, I saw someone on Twitter or TikTok being like, that's how you can tell this show was written by someone of color. Because they actually, right, they get it. Yeah, so I enjoyed that. But the actual episode, right, I thought they were going to do the click thing, where they're like, suddenly she just keeps skipping ahead, and before you know it, she's like an adult. I thought that's what the episode was going to be, because, you know, skip the adolescence. So she was no longer going to be an adolescence, and before you know it, it was like her life was flashing before her eyes. But not everything has to be the 2007 movie starring Adam Sandler, Click. Does Click hold up? I don't know. I remember liking it, but I feel like it's one of those movies that probably doesn't hold up. I remember Christopher Walken as the devil. That sounds right. I don't know. I felt like Adam Sandler got better work when he wasn't, you know, Happy Madisoning the movie. That's why Hotel Transylvanias are so good. But regardless, so yeah, and then her solution in the end of the episode, where she, you know, her device gets so powerful that she literally just goes back and undoes it all. Again, I could have seen her like becoming an adult. Yeah. New Hell of a Boss episode. I still have not watched that show. I saw a thing of like voice actors. God, that show's got a great voice cast. Like, I did not realize how many great voice actors that show had. Let's see, what's next? Next episode... Oh, yeah, so it's Moon Girl's day off, where she takes a day off, because she fakes injuring her leg. And, you know, she's able to get a day off to go spend time, you know, just relaxing. And during that, her grandma confronts her about, you know, faking breaking her leg. And, you know, tries to get her to once again reveal that she's Moon Girl, and she... Because the grandma knows, right? The grandma figures it out in the first episode, but doesn't reveal anything, and is, you know, waiting for her time. It would, you know, so I don't know. I've never read a Moon Girl comic. Still, I may be really liking the show. Still won't get me to read the comics yet. But is Moon Girl on the LGBTQ? Because I just picture a scene now where, like, where Moon Girl's, like, tells her parents, like, oh, I have to tell you all something. And they're, like, clearly setting it up as if she's, like, going to reveal she's a superhero. And then, no, surprise, surprise, she comes out as gay or bi or whatever. That would be very funny. I don't know why, but that's just very funny in my head. So I would love to see something like that. Again, I know nothing about the character. So I couldn't tell you whether or not that's a thing or not. But that just sounds very funny. it's good. You should watch it. I know I should. I've seen clips from it, and it all seems very solid. I have so many shows I need to watch. I'm going to finally watch Arcane. I've made that decision that sometime next week, or sometime in the next, like, 2 weeks, I'm going to watch Arcane. Finally. Yeah. But yeah, so, and then in the other plot of the episode, the main plot, Casey takes over for Moon Girl for the day to do the photo shoot, and then she has to fight the villain, Abyss? I think the villain's name was Abyss, who, the voice actress for Abyss sounded so familiar, but when I looked her up, I didn't recognize her. So I have no idea who she is. But she sounded so familiar. But yeah, it's another fine, because, you know, Moon Girl comes back out to, you know, back up Casey, and then she accidentally breaks her leg for real, which was a great moment. And then, yeah, it ends, you know, with her just being like, yeah, you know, if you need a break, you have to tell people. Right? If you don't tell people, then nothing will ever get done. So I feel, again, there's a lot of good, solid messages in the show, which, yeah, it's fine. And then, I think that takes us to the final bunch of new episodes, Like Mother, Like Moon Girl, which is all about, you know, it's doing that plot of like, oh, well, you're a status symbol, so you have to use your status for good. And the whole thing is that the villain, who is basically, they're supposed to be husband and wife, but they look so similar. They're these incestuous twin Elon Musks, who their whole big bad evil plot is to gentrify the Lower East Side, which, and then of course Moon Girl originally helps them, but then once she realizes they're doing evil, she turns against him. This was an exact plot in a Miss Marvel comic. The only difference was that when Miss Marvel did it, it turned out that the people trying to gentrify the area were Hydra. Here, they're fucking Elon Musk. Which is, I guess, a little bit more topical. Don't want to spoil things. Yeah, I know I know Hell of a Boss is a very good show. I'll get around to it eventually. I was interested in Has Been Hotel. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And I know I watched the first episode or something, but then, I don't know. It just got sidetracked. I'll get around to it they're all on YouTube, right? I'll get around to it one of these days. I don't know, I got around to Villainous eventually, once they dubbed that in English. And they had Markiplier be one of the voice actors, which is very funny. That's very funny. I wish they did more of those. That was a great series. The 6 episodes. It only... So, yeah. But yeah, episodes 7 through 12 of Moon Girl, very good. I still really, getting them all on Disney Plus like that, great. I guess they're still airing on Disney Channel, like, weekly, but they just put a bunch on Disney Plus. I looked it up because I was curious how many more episodes there were. From what I can tell, there's going to be at least 3 more episodes this season. Or maybe, was it 2? It's either 2 or 3. Oh, crap, we're at 11. I want to say there were 13 episodes. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have 13. Maybe it's 13 or... Yeah, I think we're going to have 13 episodes this season. And so we've still got 2 that, aren't on Disney Plus, haven't aired yet. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I don't know, I was thinking about it. Usually Disney shows have 20 episode seasons. Right, I want to say the first season of Gravity Falls is 20 episodes. First season of Amphibia is 20. First season of Owl House is 20. So I know Disney shows, Ghost and Molly McGee was 20. Usually Disney shows work in 20 episode seasons. So I'm sure so far they've created 15 or 13 or whatever. But I bet we're going to get the last 7 later in the year. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But so far, I've really enjoyed the show. Is it enough to make me pick up the comic? I don't know about that. I don't know. I've heard some things about the comics. We talked about it like 2 weeks ago. I've heard some weird things about the Moon Girl comics. And I even heard some new stuff since these new episodes aired. Like the whole Moon Girl switching bodies with Devil Dinosaur. Like, in the show, it's like a device she creates. Which they even reference in one of the later episodes, and it's actually kind of funny. When she's talking to the grandma. I was like, oh, that's cute. Right? Continuity. Love me some continuity. Right? In a show that... I know, you know, saying love me some continuity out of context is really fucking stupid. But, you know, when on a scale from SpongeBob to... I don't know, whatever the opposite of SpongeBob is. You know, I like me some good continuity. But yeah, so... I guess in the... So, right, she creates a device that allows her to switch bodies with Devil. But I guess in the comics, that's just straight up one of her powers. Which, again, I'm not using the MS word here. I don't want to. That's really fucking mean. But it's just... I've heard some weird things about the Moon Girl comics, man. Nothing bad, just weird. But yeah, still, it's a great show. So, I hope they keep making it, because I'm really enjoying it at the moment. And that's all I gotta say about that. Ah, shit. The reason Has-Been Hotel is silent is because they got partnered with A24. They can't say anything about the production, and they're upload the whole first season at once, so it's taking a really long time. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, again, I saw the first episode of Has-Been. So is Hell of a Boss on YouTube? Is it just the whole show on YouTube? Because I would assume so, but I don't honestly know. Or is it on one of those other weird services? I don't know. It's an interesting concept for sure. And it's got some great character... Both shows had some great character designs. Ah, shit. Yeah, it is on YouTube. Okay, cool. Cool, cool. Alright. I am doing awful in these games tonight. Right? I'm just doing so terrible. Getting my ass kicked around every corner. 12 episodes so far. 8 in Season 1 and 3 in Season... God, we're in Season 2? Wow. That's wild. God, I'm just getting my ass kicked tonight. Awful. It's the flings. It's not the flings of the freaking dynamo roller. So hard to work with. And swap for chunks. And swap for chunks. Alright. Let's go check out the shops and whatnot. So yeah. Oh, hey look, the multiplayer mode's updated. So my plan for the next week is, well, we'll definitely be back with Breath of the Wild. You know, currently we're working our way through Breath of the Wild. We just defeated one of the Divine Beasts. So that went great, right? Everything's going great in Breath of the Wild right now. I'm having a fun time with that. Oh, I'll take that. So I'm enjoying Breath of the Wild. But, you know, I don't have the time to do it every night. Oh, a second part. Huh, I thought I had that shirt. Gosh, I've bought almost every shoe. Oh, we got the emote from Splatoon 1. Cool. Oh, look how expensive a cell phone is. Oh, so expensive. I meant to buy 2. But yeah, so for the next, we're going to be back with Breath of the Wild on Monday, I guess. And I'm definitely going to do some more exploring. I don't want to go... I know we're close by to the next Divine Beast, but I don't want to go there yet. I want to go do some other stuff first. Oh, cool. Some more amiibo gear. Perfect. Still need the last part. I don't know why the game's being so stingy. But yeah, so we're continuing to work on that. We'll be back on Monday, and then back on Friday with that. I'll probably be back Monday anyways. That's the plan at the moment. Yeah, we'll probably be back Monday. And then from there, you know, Splatoon still is every Saturday. That has not changed. And yeah, we're hopefully... Again, the goal is to beat Breath of the Wild before the new game comes out. That's it. You know, I know 3 hour... or basically 6 hours a week. 6, maybe 7 hours a week isn't much time. But we'll slowly chip our way through the game. I'd love to do every shrine, but there's no way that's going to happen. Like, we're inevitably going to get stuck, or we're going to get lost or something. So there's no way we're going to get every shrine. But I'll do as much as I can. Okay. Yeah, so far I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying playing the game again. And yeah, and then Splatoon. Again, I know I did awful tonight. I just absolutely got my ass kicked on every front. But I don't know what else to play. I mean... We've been playing Splatoon every Sunday since, what, September? And I don't plan to break that anytime soon. Oh, look at that. The fucking, oh god, that costume. That's the first time I've actually seen that in game. At least that I've noticed it. Oh, it's so ugly. Yeah, so we'll be back next week with that. Anything else? Nothing I can think of. You know, it's just been a busy week. And next week is stupid busy as well. Oh, God. That's why I'm like, oh, maybe I'll be back on Monday, and maybe I won't. God, it's busy. Definitely do. I'm just glad to be out with Pokemon. Honestly, the Iron Leaves was stressing me out and took way longer than it should have to beat. But I'm done. I don't have to worry about it, and I don't even have to touch Pokemon until the DLC. Probably. I don't know. I say that, but I really should start working through, like, Black or White to, you know, like, the one game I haven't beaten of the classics to move up old Pokemon to the newer game. Because that's later this month. The eShop shuts down in, like, 2 weeks. So, I really should start working on that. Yeah, but I'm in no rush, I guess. But yeah, that's where I'm going to end off for tonight. We'll be back next week with more Breath of the Wild, more Splatoon. But until then, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.